This is going to be a in your opinion question right here. So the economy, as far the stock market is near all time highs. Economy, people have jobs, like people can afford things. No one's losing their houses right now, and it doesn't seem that the economy is anywhere close to what we saw back in 2008. It's not even close, not even the same picture or whatever. Why is it that auto loan delinquencies are at the highest that they have ever been right now? Does it boil down to just that prices were so high over the last 3 and 4 years that auto loan payments have now hit the peak of where they are compared to what people actually make on a monthly basis? Is that the reason, or do you think there's something else going on in the economy that maybe is not the mainstream kind of story that we're seeing? Why is it now, when it seems like everything is okay in the economy, that we're seeing this record high auto loan delinquencies?
I think the economy is good for some.
I agree,
and not all. There are some people who are making a nice living, and then there's too many people who aren't. I think the chasm between those who can afford things and those who cannot afford things has never been greater. Okay, so even though the economy on paper looks like it's doing terrifically, the percentage of people who will say it's terrific for them is probably lower today than it has been in years. And the people who find it difficult right now, that number of people is probably a larger percentage than it ever has been. And so that's what I think it is. The whole system is, in my opinion, the whole system is to take care of those who already have money and allow them to make even more money, and those who are struggling to struggle more. That's how the whole system is set up, in my opinion. I mean, it's like the vast majority of people in this country, I would classify as working poor. And they may have a home with a mortgage, and they may have two cars with two car payments. And, they may be making $100,000 to $150,000 a year, and they don't have two nickels to rub together. Okay, they are in debt well over their heads. Everything they have is financed, and they work just to be able to maintain what it is that they have, and they can't sock any money away for any dilemma that might occur in the future. That's the working poor, and that, I think, is the majority of our society today. Is we think maybe we're middle class, but when we realize that we don't have two nickels to rub together, but we got a nice house and a 65-inch OLED TV and two cars, and I got $3.10 left over at the end of every week. It's a pretty good life, except if an emergency happens.
I heard and you didn't answer the question, so I'm gonna ask you it again. But I just want to pull it up real quick. I heard a comedian one time talk about debt, and he was doing a whole story about it. And they were driving by a homeless man, and they're pointing at the homeless man. They're like, he doesn't have anything. He's got that blanket, he's got that tent, he's got a dog, and he's smiling, and he has absolutely nothing. And then the comedian started to think about it. He's like, well, I'm driving by. I have a house that I live in, but I owe like $300,000 on it. I mean, I have a bunch of nice stuff, but I have like $30,000 in credit card debt. I have a really nice car, but I owe like $40,000 on it. it turns out I have less than nothing at this point. So he's like the homeless man who has nothing. He is richer than I am at this point. And it's just so interesting for us to talk about this situation where it seems like some people are doing really well in the economy, but they're probably not doing in a lot of cases as well as they think they are because they're drowning in all of this debt.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm going to lead you into the question that I originally asked you that you didn't answer. Why do you think we're at the peak of auto loan delinquencies right now, even though it seems on a face value that our economy is not in dire straits?
Because people are just overextended. I mean, the whole concept of our economy is based on credit. It's like you want more because you're told you need more, and the only way you can get more is to borrow more, and well, eventually, it becomes all that debt becomes a burden that is hard to carry. So I think that's why we're overwhelmed with the debt that we're encouraged to take on.
But hasn't that been the case for like the last 50 years? And I mean, what's different right now about car loans that has been different compared to the economy? Because
Look, the price of
everyone,
cars.
the price of cars. I think that's
Yeah,
what it boils down to.
yeah,
Yeah.
the price of cars. I mean, if the average pre-owned transaction price is 30 grand, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's a big difference than when it was 15. So, ultimately, it's the price of things that have gone up so dramatically, that's caused the issue. And let's face it, used cars are going to continue, especially 1, 2, and 3-year-old low mileage used cars are going to continue to be in somewhat short supply because leasing was not something that was pushed 1, 2, and 3 years ago. Now leasing is starting to make a comeback, so 3 years from now, the situation should be improved. But until we get to that point, that's one of the reasons that, in my opinion, younger used car prices are going to remain higher than they normally would have been because that shortage is going to persist.
I also feel like there's an aspect of people being trapped in their cars because they, in a lot of cases, years past, they've been able to, even if they had a little bit of negative equity, they were able to take it into the dealership and then trade that in and then roll the negative equity into the next car. And now there's a situation where a consumer can't get rid of the car. They can't sell it because they owe $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 on the car, and they'll have to come up with that amount of money to be able to sell their car outright to satisfy that loan.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have it. They can't do it. So they can't do that. They can't go that route. They can't trade it in because these franchises now can't, there's no strings that they can pull to get rid of $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 of negative equity. So that consumer in that situation, if they want a new car, they're just stuck in it. And if they're already trying to get out of the payment that they're in, maybe they're trying to trade that car in to get a lower payment onto a cheaper car. They can't do it. So I wonder if in that case, that's a reason why we're seeing these all-time highs is because people before could do something. They had options to be able to get out of a monthly payment that maybe they can't afford anymore. And now they can't do it because there's nothing that these dealerships can do to roll out $10,000, $12,000 of negative equity.
We know the average negative equity is over $6,500.
Yep.
That there's a huge percentage where it's over 10 and still a sizable percentage where the negative equity is in excess of $15,000. So yes, it becomes eminently harder to get out of something when you're that buried in it. And that all goes back to inappropriate decisions that are made at an earlier time when we agree to enter into an obligation that perhaps we shouldn't have, but we felt compelled to. And
Here's
now you have to
a
take personal responsibility, and that becomes an issue.
in my opinion.
Mine too.
All right, new channel right here. So if you haven't already, please like, subscribe. It's free for you, and it really helps us out. All right, Fly Chopper Fly ask says great research and info today. Ray, question: isn't it the banks who should be responsible for the future viability of the loans when they buy loans from others? And we talked about how Ally buys a lot of loans from Carvana, and they're wondering is it then the responsibility of Ally to really research what kind of loans that they're buying, and if Carvana's writing a whole lot of bad loans, how are they able to now sell them and package them to someone else if maybe they're bad loans to begin with?
It seems to me, and Fly Chomper Fly, you can correct me if I'm wrong, and you wouldn't be the first, but it seems to me that in that type of business, asset-backed securities, when you go back and you look at the Great Recession, the Great Mortgage Crisis of 2008, 2009, that there seems to be a certain amount of trust amongst thieves. And what I mean by that is those who are selling the asset-backed securities, the buyers of those securities are trusting that the seller is not just packaging crap. And my suspicion is that probably in 90+% of the cases, the seller is not just packaging crap, but that perhaps there's 10% of sellers out there that realize they can try and pull a fast one on the buyers of these asset-backed securities. And I think that's what we had happen during the Great Recession. And I think to a certain degree, that could be happening today with the auto loan asset-backed securities. So if the question is it the bank's responsibility to do better due diligence on those who they are buying these securities from? Yeah, you're probably right. But what happens is they develop a certain trust level, and there's no reason to suspect that anything's askew until, well, it's too late and everything is askew.
So I got a question for you, just driving for this a little bit. So I know your opinion on you don't think that as the negative equity gets worse, you don't think consumers will actually walk away from their cars like they did houses back in 2008. But do you think there's a scenario where the repo rates get so high that it creates some kind of financial disaster in the car market with these loans that are linked to a lot of these banks and all of these cars? We're already seeing record high delinquencies right now. Today, we're at the highest point of auto loan delinquencies, even higher right now than in the Great Recession. So do you think there's ever a scenario where maybe people don't walk away from the cars, but they just don't make their car payments, and so many people lose their cars and the values continue to drop on the used car level that a lot of these banks end up hurting in a massive way because of these loans that were written to people who could not afford them to begin with?
I think before that happens, banks will work with the consumers to postpone payments, delay payments, extend the loan term to make it so that they can have lower payments now. As repossessions continue to go up, banks know that that's an issue. So, there's loan forgiveness, there's loan delay. That's what I think you'll see happen. Because if there is a huge spike in auto loan repossessions and delinquencies, and a huge spike in people just giving up their vehicles, that sends a signal to bank regulators that they haven't done a good enough job making sure that the loans that the banks were making, whether they be auto loans or mortgages, were under the proper criteria for a loan to be made. So banks aren't going to want that scrutiny. And one way to prevent that scrutiny is to delay repossessing somebody's vehicle. And you and I both know that usually once you're 60 days late or continuously 60 to 90 days late on a car loan, typically they just go and repossess your vehicle. Except right now where they're not. So I just don't think the banks want the extra scrutiny. They don't want the eyes looking at everything. And so they'll delay it as long as they possibly can.
Lord Commander, what a name. Says new GA dealer here, Georgia dealer here. I appreciate you guys' insight into the market. Tuition for the bucket. I appreciate it. Thank you. Keep your money. Use that to buy. Use that to help you with your buyer fees that you're going to have to pay. And there are lots of them. But please don't give us any money. Put your question in there. We'll try to get to as many as possible, and you can do that without paying us. I promise you. Actually, here's one. Brandon, have you filmed many auctions lately? Lately I have not. The problem is with the auctions, I enjoy filming the auctions, but they don't actually hit as well as the videos that we do if we go to dealer lots, if we're just covering like generic car market news surrounding manufacturers. You think like Ford, GM, Stellantis, that kind of thing. I'm still going to absolutely go film at auctions. That's going to be a thing that we're going to continue to do. But my job here is to not only educate you about the car market, but also entertain. And what I do on my channel is I look at audience feedback and the views and the videos that my audience actually clicks on. Those are the ones that they tell me that, okay, they want to watch more of. So the more views, the more clicks that we get on some of these other videos. If the auction videos underperform the general like car market updates from these specific brands, then I'm going to lean into more of what my audience wants to see. So this is why you haven't seen a ton of auction videos, and we used to do auction videos all the time. And that's because they just don't perform well, not say well, but as well as the other kinds of videos. But it's not something that we're abandoning at all. We're going to continue to do those. I enjoy doing them. But you could check out my second channel, CQA Live. We'll probably put more auction content on that channel than we will on our actual main channel. So just look for it there. And I think Ray is back already.
I am indeed. Yes.
There we go. All right. I only yelled at one person while you were going about giving us money, so I did well, I think.
Well, how many people have given us money?
Only one. So we're batting 100%.
Yeah. There you have it. Yeah, I don't know if you've noticed, but the number of people giving us money has gone down to just about none now.
I'm working on it, and I will get us to zero. One of these live streams, I'll get us to zero money given.
All right, here we go.
Oh, yeah, that would be the title. What did I put the title? Enter car market clickbait here. I forgot. I did that. That's funny. That's a funny title.
Yeah, right. I thought so.
All right, there's a couple questions about my Tesla. Here we go. Let's answer that. So, Brandon, if you don't know, I have two Teslas right now. I have a Model S I drive every day, and I have a Model 3 that it's been sitting at my lot for just collecting dust for the last 3. I need to do something with it. I don't know. It's just sitting there. Brandon, is there a brand of car? No, that's not even a question about my Tesla. I thought I pulled it up. Here it is. Brandon, what have you had to fix on your Teslas? Are you ready to part with them yet or love them? The Model 3 I want to get rid of. I think it's junk. I think it rides like a 2005 Kia Spectra, a really fast one. And the build quality is not very good. There are things falling off of it. The doors don't line up. And I mean, it's fun to drive. It's a small car, and it's fast. But it's rough on the inside and the outside, and it doesn't ride very well at all. My Model S on the other end of the spectrum, it feels like a higher end BMW to me when I'm riding in it. It's smooth. Build quality still, the doors don't line up, and my handle is broken. It won't open, and it's only 4 years old, so like things like this shouldn't be breaking on this car already. So I haven't fixed anything yet on it. But I know in a regular car, it sounds like a CV axle, CV joint is popping in the front end. I don't know if that's the same in a Tesla or not, but I can't just take it to my regular mechanic. I got to go get it fixed through Tesla. I haven't taken it yet. And the door handle, I'm gonna get that fixed too. And then Ron asked me after that, when am I going to dump the Tesla? I'm going to dump the Model 3. Hopefully I won't lose any money on it, but I am going to get rid of that one. But the Model S, I'm going to keep and drive it after I fix it.
Would it be safe to say that if you're buying a Tesla, you're not buying it because of the build quality? You're buying it because of the software and the performance of the vehicle, but not the build quality.
Yeah, I bought it for the experience to have, and it's a different experience. I've been a car dealer for 13 years. All I've ever known is gas powered vehicles. I bought some hybrids. I hate the way hybrids drive, by the way. But the electric vehicle is the different experience, and it's very fun to drive. And I still, while I'm not in the honeymoon stage anymore with my Tesla, I still enjoy driving it every single day. Just when you touch the gas and you have that instant response, it's a good feeling. I really like that. So I envision that I will be driving a Tesla probably for, at least the foreseeable future. I'll be in one. All right, and Ron asks us, let's continue on that. Was it wrecked or just poor build quality? I think Ray just answered that. It's absolutely the build quality, where it's so funny. Both of the doors, like, they don't even look on both cars at certain angles. The door doesn't even look like it's closed.
Oh, Lord.
All right. You know what? I'm tired of talking, and I'm starting to mess up words. So since they're not, words are hard, and we'll end it with that.
If you liked what you saw today, do us a favor right here at CarSense. Like and subscribe. We're new. We're growing. You can't do without us.